So I'm back. The next significant shift that I had to have in my thinking was to embrace ideas of others' thinking and improve how I think. And this also, I had never really read anything that wasn't either a textbook for getting a degree or a fictional novel. And so I had never really thought of the idea of reading self-improvement books or ideas on improving weaknesses in your life. And so my husband and I, again, we were part of a group called Life Leadership for a short time. And during that, we attended a convention, and there was a girl there who was really interesting. She had married a guy who was one of the life coaches in the business, and his name was Bill. And his previous wife had died of, I think it was cancer. I think she had died of cancer. And so then eventually he found another person and he married her. And so automatically she became the wife of a life coach, and what they do is travel around the world and speak. And this was really a challenge for her because she went from being a single mother and being involved in roller derby to being a person dressed in a suit and nylons and being on stage speaking. And it was super frustrating for her. She was a bright and brilliant girl, though, and she talked to everyone about how she improved and how she learned to speak and to step up to the plate. And she had mentioned that in a short period of time she had read 78 books. And so I thought about that. And that was the most impressive thing that I heard the whole time, most impressive on my mind. And so when I got home, I thought about, we also have learned in our lives, my husband and I, about if you have a target goal that you want to reach, if you attach something to it, some dream prize or something that you really want to it, it'll inspire you to work towards that goal harder, or that target goal. And so I love playing the flute, and I've always wanted to have a gold flute with engravings on the keys. And so most of my students who know me know that I have on my phone a picture of me playing a gold flute. I went to a National Flute Convention about 4 or 5 years ago and picked the flute that I would like to have, and then I set a goal to read 78 books. And I'm now on book 49. But I had no idea what would happen when I read these books. I was really just reading the books to reach the goal, to get the flute. But what happened is there was a lot of change that happened in me, like learning how to deal with talking to people, holding difficult conversations. Before, I used to be passive aggressive, where I would just hold the information inside, try to be kind, not hurt anybody's feelings, but my actions would reflect anger or resentment. And so I learned, I'm not perfect at that, but I learned how people deal with that. I've learned how to have a slight edge. I've learned about the 5 languages of love, and how if you keep giving gifts to people to show them how much you love them, and they're not a person who really likes gifts, then that's not going to be what helps them feel love from you. And I read books about relationships. I read books about being a leader, about your personality, and every book that I have read has helped me. In fact, interesting, when after my mother-in-law, who I was taking care of for 4 or 5 years with Alzheimer's, at a certain point we had to put her into a home where they could take care of her, because it was beyond what we were able to safely be able to take care of her in. Because at some points, with most people who have Alzheimer's, you can't really keep them contained because they disappear out your front door, and they have a lot of habits that you're not really able to manage just as the average everyday person. That was a little distraction, but that really is true. So anyway, somewhere along the line, let me get my train of thought. Somewhere along the line, when I was reading all these books, I started being able to handle things better, and when my husband and I faced challenges with him feeling so stressed about his mom's inheritance and making sure everything was taken care of for her, and dealing with a daughter that was at home having seizures and had been through multiple brain surgeries, and having a grandson who was had 2 open heart surgeries, and he blue coated on I don't know, on the first, I'm trying to think, it was within the first few months of his life. How do you deal with these things? And just reading the examples of other people has been amazing for me to see how other people have handled situations. And every day is a challenge to figure out how to take what I've learned and apply it into my life. I do have to say, though, out of all the books that I've ever read that have helped me the most are the ones that are spiritual, and for those people who aren't a member of the same church that I am, the Bible is so inspiring, and it has so many self-help ideas. Just even reading about Esther is amazing, and her bravery. And also, in my religion, we have the Book of Mormon, and the Book of Mormon has so many stories about the cycle of life and how people, when they made good decisions in their lives and were proactive, that things went well. And when they were overwhelmed and felt like giving up, that's when things didn't go well for them. And so this is one of the shifts that I had to go through in my life, was learning to accept new information from new people through books mostly, and also audio tapes.